Welcome to the Bobby O Show. My name is Bob O. Potzner, and today is a very unique experience for me. I'm doing two shows back to back, and so if you see me in the same suit, the same blue tie, and the same yellow shirt, it's because I didn't get a chance to change, although I did bring an extra set of clothes, but I left them at home. So if you're seeing the same outfits, I do have more than one suit. This is my show today with two outstanding young students from Danbury High School, going to academies, having a very select process to be appointed. And I had to get this show in because they both have to leave around end of June, early July of 2026 to go to their respective posts. And we had trouble scheduling, so I said it's more important to get them on and wear the same suit. So here we are today. I have Hannah Talbott and Tom Sweeney. How are you today?
I'm doing great. It's awesome to be here, and I'm excited to talk about the academies and the process.
And yourselves. And how about you?
I'm also doing very well and excited to talk about Navy.
Well, let's guess which academy you're going to, because looking at your shirt, it says Navy. And is that where you've been appointed to?
Yes.
And you're going to?
The United States Merchant Marine Academy.
My father was in the Navy for World War II, and he has all these pictures. He's passed away since. And he always said to me, the gravy's in the Navy. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, so let's talk a little bit about each of you. Hannah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, in a little bit, a louder voice as you can, a little bit about yourself as a student at Danbury High School and before.
Well, I don't know, I play a couple sports at Danbury High School. I do field hockey. I'm captain of the field hockey team this year.
Is that a field hockey picture of you?
Yes, that is from this past season. I think I was inserting off the corner.
Inserting off the corner. Okay, we're going to get, let me ask you a question. I'll sort of interrupt what your introduction is. What does it mean to insert off the corner?
That's like the other team fouled near their own goal, so we were trying to score and they were defending, and they fouled, so we got the opportunity to get like a free shot where they only have 4 defenders and their goalie. They stand in the goal, we stand around the outside, and then on the end line you have someone insert the ball and they try and get it as fast as possible to the outside of the circle to one of their players, and then you all rush in and try and score.
Is that ball, that little orange or red ball, is that a hard ball or is it like a tennis ball?
It's hard plastic.
Hard plastic. Does it hurt when you get hit with it?
Yes.
Do you, on your uniform, I see blue socks, is there some guard on your shins?
Yes, there's shin guards. Your shin guards are required, I think, to basically go from your ankle almost to your knee.
You ever get hit in your shin guards?
Yeah.
How does it hurt for that too?
Yeah.
Black and blue marks?
Definitely, but the shin guards do work. They prevent it from being too bad.
And the stick, is there like in hockey, you can't high stick? Is that stick got to be kept low?
Yeah, it's got to be below your knee most of the time, but if you're not around anyone, you're allowed to go a little bit higher because there's no danger.
Okay, so you played 2 sports. The other sport is what?
Well, at Danbury High School, I also play lacrosse, but then my main sport is outside of school, and that's rifle shooting.
We're going to get that into a moment. And that's a picture of you from field hockey or lacrosse?
That is also field hockey. That's one of our senior photos.
And excuse me, did you play lacrosse all 4 years?
Yes, I've actually been playing lacrosse the longest. I
Excuse me.
started in 4th grade.
So you actually played 3 sports?
Yeah.
Did you ever play Richfield, my high school, my
Yes.
town? And how'd you do against Richfield?
We usually lose against Richfield.
Thank you very much. Well, it's nice to hear as a Richfield resident. Tommy, what about you?
Yeah, so at Danbury High School, where I attend, I'm a senior. I play lacrosse. It's kind of my main sport, and I'm an avid ski racer. I ski for Thunder Ridge in New York, and yeah, those are about the 2 sports that I mainly competed. I've competed in them for many years now, since probably the start of middle school.
Who's that kid in that picture?
That's me. That is me holding my acceptance or appointment, as you call it, to the United States Merchant Marine Academy. And yeah.
Okay, and we were going to do, I always do a prep show, except for the one I just did before today. I didn't do a prep show with you in this situation, but tell me, and the reason is because you had your senior night awards night at the Danbury House, which I said was more important. Did you get any awards, Hannah?
Yes, I got the Principals Award, which is an award for community involvement, academic achievement, and basically is just an award given to both a girl and a boy at Danbury High School for kind of what they've done during their high school career.
When you have senior awards night?
Yeah.
You have like 700 kids in your class?
Yes, we have 767, I think.
Is that total from both? Is it both high schools now, or then only one of the high schools?
All of the seniors are at the main campus, because we're not in the academies, so we're not really affected, like in terms of going to the other school.
I see. So the senior class 2026 remained at Danbury High School. We're not part of the academies. What class is the first class that has the academies?
Class of 2027.
So it's the junior class, rising
Yes.
seniors. I see. Any words for you, Tommy?
Yeah, I received the Patricia Schultz scholarship, which is a scholarship awarded to someone of high academic status and extracurricular status as well. So it was nice to receive an award.
It's a very proud moment for you and your families to get those kind of awards, especially in a class of 767 approximately students. I went to Shelton High School and there were 300 kids in my class. And I remember the parents are prouder even than you guys are, So that's why we're doing this whole show in advance together, because we want to get you on before you go to your academies. Let's talk about the idea of choosing to go to, I'll call them both military schools. But tell me a little bit first, what is the Merchant Marine Academy? What do you study, and what does that lead to, Tom?
Yeah, so the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, situated in Kings Point, Long Island, is one of the 5 service academies. There's Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and the Merchant Marine Academy. It's one of the 5. And that is the core academy for the backbone of the economy, which is foreign and commercial and domestic shipping. So what that means is it means any sort of commercial trade, any sort of commercial ships, oil tankers, car carriers, container ships. I'm pretty much going to school to learn how to operate those and how to essentially travel the world and participate in foreign trade and to help the U.S. economy. Now, one thing about the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy that not a lot of people know is that if you so choose, you do have an option to commission into any branch of the U.S. military. So if there are a lot of kids that decide to commission into the Navy. There's a lot of kids that decide to commission into the Air Force. There's even some kids that decide to commission into the Army. But at the base level, it's about 70% of the kids there decide to work in foreign shipping, and as their payment back to the country, they serve in the Naval Reserve. So I would be a lieutenant in the Navy Reserve upon graduation.
Upon graduation. So let me understand. You're learning how to operate a ship.
That's correct.
Or do other things on the ship. Is that part, unless you commission to the Navy, is that separate branch from the Naval Academy, from Navy?
The entity of the U.S. Merchant Marine is an entity that was founded in 1775 during the eve of the Revolution, and it's essentially, it's not a branch of the military, it's not a uniformed service, but it is the men and women on these commercial ships, on these ocean-going commercial ships or lake-going commercial ships like the Great Lakes, any sort of vessel that is carrying out commerce for our nation. They played pivotal roles in World War II, World War I, the American Revolution, and all throughout our nation's history.
So just for and I don't know much about this, that's why I'm asking you. Let's suppose you're the captain. You call the captain of the ship?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're a captain of a ship, and let's suppose you're in the Strait of Hormuz, which is where the United States is right now. Is there a naval ship supporting you or something, or do you support yourselves with military arms?
The Merchant Marine is a very, I understand, there's no self defense when it comes to merchant vessels. Are you familiar with the 2009 film Captain Phillips, Tom Hanks?
Oh yes. That's a great movie.
Yeah. So he is a merchant mariner. He actually went to Massachusetts Maritime Academy, which is another school that I looked at before USMMA. And so pretty much what you're seeing there is what we're doing. It's commercial service, a non-uniformed non-defense, no defensive weapons on board, and just carrying out trade for our government.
I understand. At what age, I'm going to get to Hannah in a moment, but when did you decide that you want to be involved in the Marine activities?
Yeah, I decided I wanted to be involved in this, I think, towards my sophomore, junior year of high school, when I decided I wanted to do something different than a traditional college. I said I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to travel the world and get paid to do so. And it's not as glorious as it sounds, of course. You know, there's more to it than just traveling. But I decided I wanted to do something different and make my mark on the country.
You'll laugh at this story, but we used to go almost every summer to the Cliffs House in Maine. And my son was a junior or senior in high school and said, "Dad, let's go fishing 20 knots out," or wherever they were going to take us. So we got on a boat with like 20 other people. And I didn't mind the 20 knots to get where they dropped anchor. But once they dropped anchor, to and fro and to and fro. I'm getting seasick now too. So I got seasick, but I didn't throw up, I didn't vomit. But I said, I'm not going, and for 3 days I was like, I'm not well. How do you know that you're not someone who's going to get that kind of to and fro? Have you been on boats in the ocean enough to know? It's a silly question, but it just struck me.
No, it's a fair question, absolutely. I've been in enough boats to know that I'm not someone prone to get seasick on any time I'm out on the waves getting seasick, but there's definitely, I'm not underestimating the water, and I might get seasick. Hannah might get seasick when she's out and doing in the.
We haven't gotten to Hannah yet. We're gonna get her. We're gonna get sick in a few minutes.
I'm probably gonna get seasick.
But
there's no shame.
You get used to it. You get used to it, right? You keep doing it, you get used to it, and eventually you'll be fine.
Who pays for the academy? Is Merchant Marine also paid for by the government?
Yes. So the 5 service academies are all paid for.
It's 4-year term.
4-year. Yep.
And once you get in the military, the other military branches, once you go past the first day of junior year, you're committed for 5 years. I think it is. Same with you guys?
I believe so. Yes.
I see. Interesting. Hannah, let's talk about your interest in getting into the Navy. I know we talked before the show today that you got to other schools, but talk about why you decided to apply for an appointment to the United States Military Academy. I'm sorry, not West Point, Naval Academy.
Well, I really only decided I wanted to go at the end of my junior year when I started the application process. I hadn't thought about it a lot, and then I met the rifle coach for the Naval Academy, and he was like, "Would you want to go to
Who's
Navy?"
this young lady right here?
That is me in my rifle suit
Is there
in the range.
A particular suit you wear when you shoot a rifle?
Yes, so this is a custom suit. It is like specifically made to your measurements. It's basically made out of like a heavy canvas, and it's really like dense. It's supposed to.
Is it heavy?
It's pretty heavy. It's supposed to keep you like stable and structured in your position. So it's like really stiff. It doesn't move or bend a lot.
Why would one wear a piece of apparatus like that? Can we show that picture one more time, please, Director? Why would someone wear that kind of apparatus if it probably makes you less flexible?
Because when you're doing competitive Olympic-style rifle shooting, you basically want to be as still as possible so that you can hit the 10 ring every time.
Time out. Olympics. What are you talking about? There's an Olympic sport?
This is Olympic-style rifle, so there's a couple disciplines. There's rifle and pistol. I shoot rifle. I have some friends that do pistol, though. Basically, there's 2 main rifle disciplines. That's 10-meter air rifle, which is what is shown in the picture. That's my air rifle, and I'm in the air rifle range. And then there's also the 3x20 small bore. So that's 3 positions, 20 shots in each. You do prone, kneeling, standing. Prone is laying down, kneeling is kneeling, and standing is standing.
Real bullets?
In the 3x20 small bore, that is real bullets. It's just 22s. And then in air rifle, it's also 22, but you're shooting pellets because it's out of an air rifle gun.
And how far does a bullet travel?
I don't know, like a mile, I'm not sure.
Oh, you mean it's more than a football field?
The bullet can go very far, but when you're doing small bore, depends on where you are. If you're shooting indoor, you would shoot 50 feet. If you're shooting an international match or outdoors, you would shoot 50 meters. But you can also shoot these 22 rifles. I've shot them up to 100 yards, but you can shoot like 200 yards.
When you say you shoot 200 yards or 100 yards, you tell me that the target is 100 yards or 200 yards.
Yes.
My question though is, does the bullet travel further than 100?
Yes.
So where do you shoot when you go to your competitions?
I've shot at a whole bunch of different ranges. The one I shoot at, I shoot at my club's range, which is just a small indoor range. We shoot 50 feet at the most. Then I've also shot at West Point's range. They hold a league over the winter. That's the DH league. I shoot there. I've shot Junior Olympics in Colorado Springs at the Olympic Training Center. I've shot Junior Olympics also in Anniston and Talladega, Alabama. And those are the small bore range there is an outdoor range, so that one is actually 50 meters outside. I shoot in Ohio at CMP, which is civilian marksmanship. There's a whole bunch of different
This
ranges.
is the young lady who also was on the Danbury High School mock trial team
Yes.
that I judged.
Yes.
Okay, and you didn't tell me about this stuff when you were competing. I'm still interested in when you go to West Point, New York. Was that competitions?
Yes. So West Point, they host matches there. They have their own rifle team there, and so when their rifle team is not practicing, or when they are hosting like their own matches, they have the Black Knight Open, which is what a lot of colleges do that have rifle teams. They'll host an open match at their range. So I've shot at their open match, but they also host these matches a couple times a month on Sundays, where it's just like a league that you go to shoot, and then at the end of it, they take the average of your top 6 scores, maybe top 8 scores over the course of the league, and whoever has the highest average wins, and you'll get a small prize. Usually it's some ammo, like nice ammo that you'll get as a prize.
I mean, there's good ammo and not so good ammo?
Yes.
We're going to get back into this a little bit. So are you Olympic quality?
I could be. I was an alternate for the Junior World Championship team that's currently in Germany, shooting at the Junior World Championships. I did not make it. I was second alternate, but that means I came in 8th place at the Junior Olympics this past year.
8th in the world or 8th in the country?
8th in the country.
Right, you never told me this, you didn't tell me all this stuff about your show. I would have had you on sooner, and Tommy also sooner. So when were you 8th in the country in rifle shooting? So
I was 8th for the Junior Olympics this past spring, so that was in April. That is a competition where it's an invitational match. You shoot a qualifier in your state, so you can automatically qualify by winning your state qualifier, or you can make it by hitting the cutoff score. So they have an automatic score, and then they'll lower the score once they know how many people have made it, and they'll lower it until they have the amount of people that will be making it. So I won the state qualifier.
State of Connecticut?
Yes,
so
I won.
You're the number 1 rifle shooter, age 18 and under or 16 and under?
It's 21 and under. Okay. And then when you go to the Junior Olympics, you shoot 21 and under, and then you also get medals for age groups. So it's U15, U18, and U21. For U21, everyone, I came in 8th, and then U18, I came in 3rd. If you're going to compete at West Point, I want you to keep in touch, because if you do well enough to go in national competitions, I want to hear about that. We'll do maybe some more shows about that. But getting back to why you're going to Naval Academy, and Tommy talked about his background of interest to be on ships and what he plans on doing. You said you didn't decide until roughly the end of your junior year in high school, beginning so the summer before 2025. Yes, so end of my junior year of high school, because that's when I met the rifle coach at Navy, and he said, if you're interested, you should go to summer seminar. I went to summer seminar, that's in June. I went to the one that was like June 5th or something that week. And it's a week where you learn about, you know, the classes you can take, you learn about what you do plebe summer, some of that stuff. You do a mini sea trials, because they do sea trials at the end of their year. And then you also get to meet a whole bunch of people that are interested in going to Navy. It's basically a very good time. I think it was 4 days. You stay in the dorms at Navy.
They convinced you. It was a recruiting trip.
It's essentially, they try and show you why you should go to Navy, but they also show you some of like the hard stuff. In part of mini sea trials, you have to just do a whole bunch of physical fitness for like 8 hours straight, but in regular sea trials, you're doing that for like 16 hours. So it's a little bit different.
You're transitioning to what I want to ask you and Tommy, and that is, how does one, well, before I leave that, I want to ask one more question on this. Were you recruited by colleges to be on their, do colleges have rifle teams?
Yes, there are a little over 20 in the country.
I did not know that. Did you know that, Tommy? I did not know. Did you know all this about your friend Hannah?
I knew that she was an excellent rifleman or riflewoman, but I didn't know about the college status.
I watch the TV show all the time, Still the Rifleman, but that's a little humor, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's very amazing information about that, but you're going to talk about the hard stuff.
Yes.
And I want to get to Tommy about when you made the decision. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm jumping around again. You didn't finish your answer about where you were recruited by, which schools?
My main recruit like schools that I was recruited to were the Naval Academy and Ohio State, but I was also recruited by Georgia Southern and Wofford College.
Is there a school called TCU?
Yes.
Were you recruited by them also?
I was not.
They did not recruit Hannah? Tommy, we got to talk to them about this situation.
Ironically, I didn't ever reach out to them.
Okay.
I didn't want to go to school in Texas.
However, I would go to school in Texas right now.
I didn't want to go to school in Texas.
I would not.
However, they were my next choice. If I wasn't going to go to a school for rifle, it was going to be TCU, because that's where I got the most scholarship.
There you go. Tommy, tell me about the process. We're going to come back to you on this stuff also. Tommy, tell me the process. How does one get into the military academy? In your situation, the Maritime Center.
Yeah. So I know this, and Hannah knows this. Going to a U.S. Service Academy can be very. It's a very difficult application process. The biggest thing that you have to understand with the application process, I'm sure you already know it. It's the congressional nominations. So essentially, you have to reach out to your 2 senators and your congressman, or in our case, Congresswoman Jahana Hayes, and ask for a nomination to a U.S. Service Academy. And that process takes a long time. You have to write essays. You have to fill out forms, and then the biggest thing is an interview for each office for each congressman.
Who do you interview with? The office of the congressman?
Yeah, you interview with the office, so you're not interviewing with the congressman himself.
A staff
or
person.
herself. Yeah, exactly.
So it'd be this U.S. Senate. So it'd be either Chris Murphy or Blumenthal.
Chris Murphy, Blumenthal.
You would be Jahana Hayes for your district.
Mm-hmm.
Can they cross district? Can districts say, hey, I need a few more slots, I'm going to go to the 3rd congressional?
Interestingly, yes, but only for the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy.
Interesting.
I could be wrong. Don't quote me on this, but
Hannah, don't quote him on this, Hannah.
I won't.
I think that for the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, you can actually do cross-district, but I'm not sure if that's the case.
I think I heard about that only
West
because
Point,
sometimes you have overabundance on one military academy and not the other, and so they try to fill the slots. So when you did the application, give me the physical part of it, Tommy. What's the physical application part?
Physical as in what?
Well, do you have to do lift, how many pull-ups you can do, and how much you got to run,
Yes.
a certain amount of money and all that?
Yeah.
Certain amount of time?
Yeah, exactly. So every academy does a physical fitness test. For the U.S. Merchant Marine, it's actually the same one that Navy does. It's called the CFA, the Candidate Fitness Assessment. It consists of, correct me if I'm wrong, Hannah, there's a basketball throw, there is push-ups, there's pull-ups, there is curl-ups, and there is a a 1.5-mile run.
So
Just 1 mile.
Or just 1 mile run, excuse me.
So she corrected you. You asked her to
Well,
correct you.
the 1.5 miles is for the physical fitness test that you have to do once you get there.
Once you get there.
So that you
They do
still
it
have to do
different.
that, but it's
But
just,
I really like the fact that you asked her to correct you, and she did in fact.
I was
she
like,
did
let me
in
take
fact
this
correct you,
opportunity.
and you took the opportunity. So the lesson you should learn is you should never give Hannah the opportunity
Don't
to
tell me
correct
to
you,
correct
because
you.
she'll do that. So you do these activities. Did you train for the activities?
Yeah, I mean, I train and lift regardless. Like, I try to stay active. I run all the time. I go to the gym, and you could definitely say I trained for this. And then you have a gym teacher or some sort of adult proctor you, and you get your final score. Don't ask me what my final score is. I have no idea.
oh, you don't?
I
Do you know your final score
They
was?
sent me mine.
They sent you.
Well,
They sent me an email with it.
do you want to share it, or is that private?
No, I don't want to tell you.
Okay.
I think they rigged it or something because,
You got a better score than you thought, huh?
nope,
Okay.
nope.
Okay, but you made it. It doesn't. It's like the SATs. When you
Right.
the first day I went to Yale for undergraduate, Duke was law school. I was with 12 guys. There were no ladies in the group that day, and a lot of them had gone to prep schools and whatever. And in those days, the highest SAT was 1,600. I know they went up. They changed it. I don't know if it's back. Is it back to 1,600?
Back to 1,600.
1,600. And so all these guys are saying that this guy went to Exeter, Andover, 1580, 1560, whatever. Then it got to me, and I said, well, I got, but I graduated magna cum laude, so the best of the whole group. But the point is, it's not, as Coach K would say from Duke basketball, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. So tell me, Hannah, tell me about your application process, similar to Tommy's?
Yes and no, about the same, but mine was just different because I went to summer seminar. So I actually did the CFA at summer seminar. It was the first thing I did as a part of my application. And other than that, everything was pretty much the same. Have to do your nominations, that's a big part of it. The interview process is all the same. Although I'm not sure, were you interviewed by someone at the office? I was interviewed by someone at the office, but not actually. I was
Which
interviewed.
office? You mean at the office of whom?
I was for both Johanna Hayes and Chris Murphy. I was interviewed by graduates, either graduates of the U.S. Naval Academy or retired naval officers, current naval officers. There was some people that graduated from West Point, basically people who had been or were in the military and had gone through the academies.
Was that scary?
Yes, it was very scary.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Tommy said he works out, he runs, he lifts, whatever. You played women's lacrosse, you played field hockey, you had the stick that you would hit people with. I'm sorry, you wouldn't hit with no high sticking. Did you work out a lot before the testing, or did you just normally work out?
I didn't work out specifically before the testing. I was just coming off of lacrosse season, and I actually didn't plan on passing at summer seminar. I was just like, oh, I'm gonna see what it's like. I'll see what it is, because you can take the CFA as many times as you want.
Oh, you can?
Yes, you can retake it if you don't like your score. You just have to get someone to proctor it again.
Do you recall, first of all, I don't know if you're allowed to say this, but do you recall the hardest question you had in the interview process, Hannah? And what your answer was?
I don't. I can remember that a lot of people were warning me that they might ask, how would you feel about taking a life? Like, are you prepared to do that?
Wow.
Because you're going to be in the military. And I didn't get that question, but there was a lot of people who prepared me and said, make sure you know how to answer this question.
Do you want to share what your answer would have been? Or you don't have to if you don't want to.
Generally, the answer that they're looking for is, I'll do what I have to do in order to serve my country, or like I'd be willing to do it to serve my country. But I wouldn't really know what I'd say, actually.
If this were a political show, which I'm not going to do, I would ask you some questions about that, but I'm not going to, because this is about you and your careers, but I have many questions to ask about that. One question, don't answer this, would be, what if you were on the streets of America and you were told to do an illegal order? Don't answer that question, but that's something that I would have asked. I might ask it over a vanilla milkshake with you two guys, but that's something that's important. What was the hardest question that either you received or thought about being received?
So one question I got, I think this was for the office of Chris Murphy. It was a retired naval officer, old guy,
Watch out the word old. Be careful of the word old. Wait a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know.
He was at least 90. Okay, go ahead.
A good-looking old gentleman.
Thank you.
And you know, he was a ROTC guy from the University of Michigan. And I think this was a tough question because I hadn't expected it. I expected questions that I got like, you know, what's a time you failed? What's a time you know, succeeded, et cetera. Those are kind of the questions I'm expecting and that I did get. But he talked about the inner workings of a ship, and he kind of explained it to me as he was like, you're going to be on ocean-going vessels where you're sleeping next to an engine that can kill you. You're next to these objects that can kill you instantly if something goes wrong. And of course, my first thought, I'm like, well, you're right, but that is, you know, that's a little insane, you know. But he is right. It was unexpected, and he kind of just said, like, make sure, you know, how do you feel about that, and make sure you understand that. It was I don't exactly remember what the point he was trying to get to me. I think he was just asking me.
It's trying to shock you.
Well, yeah, definitely trying to shock me and asking me how I felt about something like that. And you know, it's true. You know, like these ships, you're out for months, especially, you know, in commercial shipping. You spend a lot of time at sea, and
could it be 3 to 6 months in a row?
Absolutely, it can be. Absolutely, it can be longer. It can be. You can do 6 months. You can do 6 months out there. 6 months can turn into 8 months without proper relief.
When you say out there, you mean they dock on shore? You're docking?
No, just not back in the U.S.
I
You know,
see.
you're just going to different ports.
It takes a certain mental set and personality to do this. My best friend from high school, who went to West Point, in fact, he was my best man at my wedding, and I was in his wedding party. And his father, who's passed away, Mr. Boyko, would take me every year to the first West Point football game of the year. And I'd go there, and I said, Mr. Boyko, thank you for taking me each of these 4 years, because I wasn't ready to go back to school this semester, but now I am, because I could never have done West Point. My son looked at Naval Academy, and he played football in high school, and he played in Lehigh, where he went. He played rugby. Tough kid, but he said, this is not for me. So it takes a certain kind of person. So please tell me, I'm going to ask each of this question. Hannah, what is it about you that's willing to put your life on the line for me, for all of us, for your family? Why are you willing to serve your country in this way? I'm proud of you, by the way. I'm very proud of both of you, but it's a tough question, but there's something about the person your family raised and who you are to be so selfless. So what is it that makes you feel comfortable going into the service? Is that a fair question?
I think it is. I'm not sure I have a good answer, but I think I just like challenging myself, and I think that I knew I could do it, and I want to see that I can do it. So just getting through the academy is already pretty hard. And then the service after the 5 years, and then beyond, if you make a career out of it, is also very hard, very challenging, and it takes a lot of leadership. And I just thought that was something that I would be good at, that I could learn to be good at, especially because, you know, right now I would never be ready. But after going through the academy and, you know, getting trained by some of these people who have done this, then I think I will be.
Great answer. I'm reading a book right now. It's called If I Don't Return. Have you heard about that book?
I haven't.
If I Don't Return is a book by, I think his rank was Lieutenant General or Colonel General or something like that. He was a general of some type, but he wasn't a 5-star. And when he was in the Iraqi war, what he did was, when he was in the Iraqi war, he was taking notes in the early 1990s about what he was observing. He had an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old kid at home, and he had a wife at home. He was taking notes. Then he sent it to his family, and then 35 years later, in like 2025, he wrote this book, and he took the notes that he had written, his kids had typed it up for him, and then he did reflections. And he talked about what it was like now to see what he observed. You might want to read that book. It's a very fascinating book. I've read the first half. You'd really like it, perhaps, Hannah, because he talks about all these different guns that they're using, whatever. And the point of that book is that you're still a human being, and he talks about all the characteristics to be in the military, and what makes a good leader, what makes him not a good leader. and it's not the guy or the lady who screams the loudest. It's not the one who's the bully of the bullies. So I just mentioned that book because as I'm asking you this question, I'm thinking about what would Colonel, whatever his title was, Hertling say. It's right now at Barnes & Noble. I'm not advertising for them, but you might want to read that book. Also you, Tommy. So tell me what has made you to decide, now you're a little bit different dedication to our country because it's a little bit different what you're doing, although you still have a career for us. Mm-hmm. What made you to want to sacrifice yourself to be on the ocean forever?
Right. Well, the idea of going to a U.S. Service Academy has always been awesome to me. I also applied to the U.S. Coast Guard Academy. I'm on the wait list, and then I withdrew, so I'll never know if I got in or not. But
you got in. I'm sure you got in.
I'm sure.
Hannah, did he get in?
Just tell people
now,
you got in.
Yeah, that's right.
I was on the phone with this guy who is a merchant mariner. He's a second mate on a merchant ships. He did some work down in the Gulf. And then he did work with the Navy with some refueling operations. He went to Sweeney Maritime, which is a similar school. It's not quite a service academy, but he's doing the same thing. He's working in the maritime industry, and he's asking me about Kings Point, the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. That's the nickname for it, Kings Point. And I tell him, you know what? It's going to be a great experience, and I'm also going to school for free. And he stops me, and he says. Don't ever say that. He says, nothing is free. He said, nothing's free. And I was like, oh, I didn't mean to say that, but he was stern in his tone. He was one of my mother's former students. My mom's a teacher, so I didn't know this guy. And it kind of put it in perspective. There was a part of me a while ago when I got my letter of assurance, where I was kind of like, I'm excited to go to school because this is tuition free. I'm not paying a cent. And I get to do all these cool things. I get to travel around the world, but now I'm kind of you realize it more and more as closer you get that what you're doing is really for a huge cause. And I know the Merchant Marine, it's the Merchant Marine Academy. It's not very known. It's not West Point. It's not Navy. But
damn good though. It's damn good.
It's still a U.S. Service
Darn
Academy.
Good, sorry.
And it's still the backbone of the economy, commercial shipping, and of course kids there do go into the military. I'll be in the Naval Reserve after all. But I'm doing this for the betterness of the country and the betterness of the economy. There's a lot of problems out there. What's going on in Iran, I won't get into it, of course, but with the Strait of Hormuz, and commercial shipping is something in this country that it's more important than people realize. So I want to be a part of that.
Absolutely. There's an old saying, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Yeah.
And yes, you're getting your tuition paid for, you're getting a stipend, like $100 a month, I don't know, whatever stipend you get. You're getting a stipend for both of you, but you're putting your life in the line, like almost nobody else. And you ought to be proud of what you're doing. Your parents ought to be proud of what you're doing, and you're doing a service for yourself. And I asked the question about why you're doing it because wouldn't have done that. And when I was in the second, I think I was in second to last year of the U.S. draft when we were in the Vietnam War, and at Yale we had this big area set up, and as the draft numbers came out, you were selected and whatever. I was like number 250, so I, quote, lucked out, didn't have to get drafted. I had planned to go into the NROTC at Yale. I didn't realize that the first people who went into the fights in Vietnam, a lot of people died, were that group of people, the lieutenant, whatever you got, second lieutenant, whatever you got, but that was what I was gonna do. My junior year roommate was number 2 in the draft. And he went CO, conscientious objector, and a lot of kids did that. And he took a year off. He wasn't someone who just ran the country. He did a lot of analysis and whatever, and it changed his life. So I respect what you're doing, and anyone who says anything about, well, it's the Merchant Marine Academy, it's not this or not that or whatever, it's what you're doing, it's what you're deciding to do. The show I did before you today, one of the authors, one of the books I went through, talked about how in order to be successful and happy in your life, it's got to be your decisions, what you want to do in your life. Guys, I had planned to do a half-hour show today, and we've done almost a full-hour show, and it's not because of me, it's because you are 2 wonderful examples of, you're both over 18, or 18 I guess it must be, right? You're both 18?
Yes.
And you're both graduating from a fine high school, underrated high school, I would say. I don't think your Danbury High School doesn't get the respect, in fact, as it deserves. When I went to, Tommy, you weren't there when I did the prep for the mock trial show, I'm listening to Zana, I'm listening to Johnson, I forget her first name.
Samantha.
Samantha, you, there was one of you going to Boston College at Susanna, you're going to Naval Academy, and somebody else was going to, I forget the third.
Nicole's going to Notre Dame.
No, that's right. Nicole was the one who decided on my show.
Yes.
It's going to be Notre Dame or Cornell. Cornell, she decided.
She decided on the spot.
On the spot, yeah. There's no influence. So my point is that you guys are great representatives of Danbury High School, and I'm proud to have you on my show. I did effort to get you on. You even got a cupcake for my Dan Baker's birthday, one of my staff people, my directors. Do you have any final word you want to say to your folks, to me, to anybody? I'll go to each one of you. Hannah, any final words you want to say?
Well, thank you so much for having us on the show. It's been a pleasure. I'm excited to go to the Naval Academy, and I think Danbury High School has been good prep for me. It's about the same size, actually, about exactly the same size as the Naval Academy, and my teachers there, Miss Lorenz, who you've met.
The mock trial coach.
Yes, she has been wonderful, and I think I'm as prepared as I can be.
And I know you're superintendent of schools. She was on my show once, and also the chairman of the Board of Education was on my show. Tommy, you get the last word.
Yeah, thank you so much for allowing us to be on the show. I think me and Hannah are both nervous but excited for Indoctrination Day. We call it Day Zero, they call it I-Day. And I think we're both excited, but then again, just thank you so much for having us. It's been a pleasure.
And 10 years from now, when you look at the show, you'll say, gee whiz, I was pretty good for a youngster like that. This has been Bobo Potsner, honored, I mean really honored. I've done 122, 123 shows now, counting this one, and really I've been as honored to have a show like you two folks and your classmates went to the show at Danbury High School mock trial. You guys are a great example. You give me hope, because my generation screwed this world up. And we're hoping on you guys to save the world. Shalom, which means hello, goodbye, and peace. And thank you for your intended service. This has been Bobo Potsner.